Okay, for tonight's homework, you have the divisibility rules worksheet, and you need to do numbers 2 and 3. So the numbers, number 2 is down here, and then 3 is on the top of the next page. So only numbers 2 and 3. Before we start, you can use your book. Page 103 will help you. It'll give you the divisibility rules for each one. So have that out in front of you, and that'll help you go through the homework tonight. Real quick, you can use a matrix on this if you need to, and so let's talk about. We're going to do number 2 together, and then you'll do number 3 on your own. Okay, so number 2 looks something like this. You have 3 circles. With they want numbers divisible by 5 here, numbers divisible by 9 here, and numbers divisible by 2 here. These numbers on the side are just the numbers on your worksheet. I just wrote them off to the side. So before we get started, let's look at the rules for the divisibility rules. They're the same thing that are in your book. A number is divisible by 2 if the number is even. Even numbers end with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. Okay, so any number 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 or ends with those numbers, those are even numbers. 5. If the last digit is a 0 or 5. If the last digit is 0 or 5, you know it's divisible by 5. And then 9, if the sum of the digits is divided by 9. What that means, sum is it's the answer to an addition problem. So if I had the number 27, what they're saying here is if I add these together, 2 plus 7, that would give me 9. And 9, if you look at your matrix, 9 goes into 9. So that would be divisible by 9. So you just add up the digits together. Okay? So let's look at number 36. Okay? So we'll start with 2. And First thing I'm going to look at, I know if it ends with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, it's going to be divisible by 2. So in this case it ends by 6, so I know it is divisible by 2. So just off to the side here, I'm just going to put 2. Find a marker that works. Okay? Next thing, I'm going to look at my 5s. Does my number end with a 0 or 5? It does not, so I know it's not going to be divisible by 5. Next is a 9. Remember, we add the digits together, and if it's divisible by 9, then it's divisible by 9. So 3 plus 6 is 9. Okay? And I know 9 can go into 9. So it's also divisible by 9. Okay? So what I'm going to do here, these 2 circles right here, kind of, they overlap each other. So that means that the numbers can go in both, they're both divisible by 2 and divisible by 9. So I'm going to put the number 36 right there. Okay? Now let's look at number 102. Okay, first thing I ask myself, if I start with my 2's, does it end with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? It ends with a 2, so I know it is divisible by 2. 5, does it end with a 0 or 5? No, it does not. So I know it's not going to be divisible by 5. If I add these 2 together, 1 plus 2, that gives me 3. That is not divisible by 9. So 102 would go in it's only divisible by 2, so it would go in this area right here. Okay? 57. Start with my 2's. Does it end with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? No, it does not, so I know it's not divisible by 2. 5. Does it end with a 0 or 5? It does not. So I know it's not divisible by 5. And then lastly, 57. If I add 5 plus 7, that gives me 12. And 12 is not divisible by 9. So 57 would not be divisible by any of these numbers. Okay? 0, 2, 5, or 9. Next one, 45. We'll start with our 2's. Does it end with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? It does not, so I know it can't be divisible by 2. We'll go to the 5 now. Does it end with a 0 or 5? It does. So I know it's going to be divisible by 5, so I'm just going to write 5 there off to the side until we do till we finish all three numbers. And then if it's divisible by 9, I add these two numbers together, 4 plus 5, which would give me 9. And I know 9 is divisible by 9. So it would go in the place where between 5 and 9 would be both of them. So I would write it right there. Okay? Next one, 144. Start with our 2's. Does it end with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? It does. So I know it's going to be divisible by 2's. I'll just write that off to the side. 5. Does it end with a 0 or 5? It does not. So I know it's not divisible by 5. And then divisible by 9, I'm going to add 4 plus 4, which is 8, plus 1, which is 9. And I know 9 is divisible by 9. So it goes with the 2's and the 9. So 144 would go here because it's both divisible by 2 and by 9. Alright, 450. Okay, start with my 2's. Does it end with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? It is. It does, so it's even. So I know it could go in, it's divisible by 2. Does it end 5? If it's divisible by 5, does it end with a 0 or 5? It does. So I'm going to put a 5 there as well. And then if I add 4 plus 5, that gives me 9, and I know it is divisible by 9, because 9 can go into 9. So this one, it's with, it's all 3. So I would put it under, let's see, 450. Okay, make sure that's right. Yeah. My next one is 70. Again, does it end with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? It does. So I know it's divisible by 2. 5, does it end with a 0 or 5? It does. So it's also divisible by 5. And then if I add 7 plus 0, that gives me 7. That is not divisible by 9. So for 70, it's divisible by 2 and 5. Okay, so I will put it here with the 450 because it can go in, it's divisible by 2 and 5. And the last one, 16. Does it end with a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? It does. So I know it's divisible by 2. Does it end with a 0 or 5? It does not. If I add 6 plus 1, that gives me 7. And so it is not divisible by 9. 7 is not divisible by 9. So for number 16, it's only divisible by 2. So I would write 16 in there. Okay? So, that's number 2. Now number 3, you're going to have some different numbers to, you're going to have divisible by 3, divisible by 6, and divisible by 5. So again, we did 5 on this problem here. So just refer back to your book for the divisibility rules by 3 and the divisibility rule of 6. So refer to your book when you're doing number 3. And again, just take each number and just go through each one. I would start with the lowest, and then I would go 5, then 6, or excuse me, 3, then 5, then 6. And just work through each one all 3 times, and then go to your next number. Okay? And that is it.